Welcome to another video for WinBidPro version 16 by GDS Estimating. On this one we want to cover the basics and kind of overview of adding entrances to elevations. So we have a YKK catalog open, an elevation with 5 panels that's 10 feet tall by 210 inches wide. So that's our rough opening size. So we are going to add an entrance to a range of 3 panels, and the reason for that is if I click on the entrances tab here and click add, and a little GIF video actually starts playing that describes adding entrances that span panels. So that's what we're going to do, just to reiterate that. But basically that's what you do when you want to have a divided light transom. So if I want my transom to be 3 lights, then you're really selecting 3 panels to define what that transom is like. So for non-transom openings it doesn't matter, but for transom openings that's how you're going to divide your transom. So we have 3 different buttons down here. So new for job, that's going to mean first I can add a door frame and then the door leaf comes after, or if I want I could ignore the door leaf and cancel out of it. From job, that means if there's an entrance that's already there, I can click this drop down and select it. There's already a pair. And from catalog means a pre-configured entrance, which is an already configured door frame, door leaf combination. So we can either create one or pick one by hitting that button. In this case now, let's go ahead and do new for job. So we're going to say we want a pair, and this is the filter that comes up when you first open this window. And I want a 72-inch wide, 84 tall, 2-inch frame. It should select the frame profile that your elevation actually has. And notice when I move my mouse off of that filter, it goes away, but I can quickly get it back just by mousing over it again. So I can narrow down all my options here. It's a transom frame with the header included in the frame, so that's what I'm going to select. I'm going to do the lock and hook bolt and select that one. So now you'll notice my door leaf comes up, my door leaf selection window. Now I can actually cancel this right now, or I can start filtering more, and really the only thing left to filter is the style of the door. So that narrows things down, and here's a hook bolt with an 8-inch bottom rail. And I'm trying to see if there's a 10-inch bottom rail, but I don't see one. So that's good enough for now. So we've selected the door frame, door leaf. I can optionally name this. So I can call it a 3x6 8-inch bottom rail pair. So we'll just call it that. And we don't have to name it anything, but it would say no description or something like that here if we did that. So it's better. I like naming it because then if you want to use it again, it's easier to pick it from the list. So you'll notice we've got our divided transom area here. So, okay. So that's kind of the big deal. Now, if we wanted to make an unequal transom, I can actually just go to my panels tab, and this is a little extra for this video, but I can say I want to add an unequal panel, and I can pick this middle panel, and I can make that, like right now it's 22 5/8. If I want to make that 30 inches wide, notice how width is selected here under command. If I want to make that 30 inches wide, I can hit add, and now I've just adjusted the middle panel of the transom. Ignore the part where it kind of goes over the door because obviously it's not adjusting the door right now. So I can actually click off of that and you'll see how it's made my middle panel of the transom wider. So that's really the beauty of this feature of selecting multiple panels for an entrance. So if I wanted to add more entrances, let's say this elevation had 15 panels in it, I would just click add and repeat the same thing and pick another panel or panels to add more entrances. So that's kind of the gist of it. Let's say in this one in this other elevation, I did want to add a pre-configured entrance. So I can say I want like a left-handed door to be in the third panel here. And this is where there's no like quick filter because these are pre-configured entrances, but I can use my regular filters. So I've got left, I've got, I can click on that little funnel tool, and basically I want transom frames, and there's other ways to filter, like I can say surface if I only want to see, if I only want to see surface mount closures. So here we can pick one that looks good. It's already got the door leaf and door frame configured, and it's going to add that in one shot. So that's kind of the beauty of hitting that that other option that I guess it makes me select something before, but the one that says from catalog. Now at some point I think we're going to make this a little friendlier because it's not quite obvious what these from job's pretty obvious, but the other is are the other two options not necessarily the most obvious user-friendly kind of wording and all that. So we might change this a little bit down the road, but for now this is how it's working. And as I say, you can add just a door frame by clicking New from Job. You can also add a door frame and then a door leaf. You can add an existing entrance that's in the job to a different elevation or panel with From Job. And then like we just did here, we can say From Catalog gives us an option to pick a pre-configured entrance. So those are your choices. Once you do add entrances, you can obviously edit. Like I can edit a door frame. If I needed this to be some strange size, I can say my door frame is now 87 inches tall. So I can adjust all that stuff. Notice that you have your transom glass bite here, where the transom stops are applied. And under components, this is where I actually need to define a transom stop in order to use one. And then we have things like fillers too. So we even have things that are settings that let you select what happens with fillers. So for bulkheads, let's say, should there be a flat filler that continues or no filler, those kinds of things. So keep that in mind if you run into those bulkhead kind of conditions that require funky stuff. So this is also the screen where you would go if you have stock links to build your door frame instead of a package. And a package is just going to be a part number. So that's what's under per entrance here. But if we needed all the extrusions, then you would add those here. And any hardware, any gasket, whatever you need would go in these component kind of areas. So that's basically the gist of, well, that's the door frame part. And then you have the same ability with the door leafs. It's going to adjust, you'll probably notice this, it adjusted the door frame and the door leaf here. Even though the default for the door leaf is still 84, I can actually go in and update it here, but either way it's going to draw it the way it should, because it knows you can't have an 84-inch door and an 87-inch frame, basically. So, so this is where things like, if we go to components here, we've got a package part number for a door leaf, but we could also have stock length part numbers for top rail, bottom rail, styles, all that kind of stuff. So different, special gasket parts. So whatever is not included in a package, you can always add. You can add more package parts in this area, any glass stop extrusions, all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. But also worth mentioning is this is where your profiles are set for your styles and rails. So this is how we know that it's a 7 and 15, basically an 8-inch bottom rail and a 4-inch top rail, that kind of thing. So, but exact settings, if you're manufacturing your own doors and you want to have optimized stock lengths, all that stuff can be done here, along with all your door gaps, height and width deductions, things like that. So keep that in mind if you need to change anything with your doors and make them custom or something that you would fabricate. So that's it. And obviously you can delete an entrance. Like if I delete that now and I decide, oh, I want to add that back to panel 1, I can click on the panel, or you can always enter the panel number down here. But this is where I would click from job, and I would go down, and I would say this was that entrance that was pre-configured. That's the one I want. So I'm going to save, and then I've added it to panel 1. And notice how it still has the change in it that I made, the 37-inch. Even though my description didn't reflect that, you can always go in and edit that. Obviously, like I can edit this, and then I can edit the description to be 87. That's something you would have to do because it doesn't know you, basically doesn't know you changed a value down here until you tell it. So that's pretty much it for entrances. For custom sizing, for if you wanted to create your own entrance, that's really what you're doing, is just adding package part numbers and style, dimensions and profiles, things like that. So overall sizes, transom, glass bites, and all that. A lot of times it's easier to copy one, and all that stuff's available up in here in the catalog menu. And this is what's available for the current catalog. Like here's that list of current pre-configured entrances. I could always click one of these and say, oops, I don't want to delete it. I want to edit that. And I could actually edit each, like the door frame separately than the door leaf. And then it would update that list for me. And this is where I can get to my door frames themselves. And this is what has that little quick filter. But yeah, anything, this is like with your framing systems. Anything that's a stock or a pre-configured default kind of door leaf in this case, or door frame, I'm sorry, has the by GDS box checked. So if I would click on one of these, open it, and make changes to it and edit it, it's going to save a copy of it to your catalog for your company, and it won't have that little box checked. So anything that doesn't have the box checked is something that you've modified. Anything that does have the box checked is a default configuration that you can't really change. You can just save a copy of it, basically. And I can also make a copy and then change it, but basically that's going to happen automatically when you save a copy. So, I mean when you make a change to it. So that's how that works. Same thing will go with the door leafs. It'll have the checkbox for the from GDS. It might not be over where we see it. Yeah, it's kind of off to the right for some reason, but it still has it. I can actually shrink this down a little bit since they're so small. So this is door leafs, and that's kind of what the same thing. You can, if you change something that's here, then it'll make a copy and save it for you. So yeah, I think that's everything for entrances. If there are other things I can think of, we'll do more videos. Thanks for watching.